Last time on Project Prometheus, we built arguably the greatest ship that the human fleet has seen yet, the Barracuda class cruiser. The Barracuda is a capable close-range surface combatant and brawler ship with a very brawny main battery and a capable secondary battery to complement it. In this episode, we're going to be switching things up a little bit, and rather than having ChatGPT design a ship first and then me design a counter ship, we are going to give ChatGPT all the info about the Barracuda class cruiser, and it is going to get the chance to design its own cruiser based on that info to either directly counter mine or to do its own thing. Now, ChatGPT also is still aware of all of the other ships in its fleet, so in theory it is possible for the AI to coordinate these different ship designs, but whether or not it actually does, I'll let you figure out. Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and welcome back once again to Project Prometheus within From the Depths. In today's episode, we are going to be expanding the AI fleet. So in the last episode, we built this ship, which is a cruiser class ship called the Barracuda. The Barracuda is one of the ships that I am most proud of yet. In terms of all the ships that I have built, it is relatively well engineered. It's got capable turrets, and it's very, very capable in the water. However, what's going to be different is today, ChatGPT isn't just going to get a prompt to build a generic cruiser. It's going to get all of the information about this specific cruiser, including its guns, their caliber, and its overall size, and it's going to use that information to build its own cruiser. So let's see what happens. During the AI construction and design phase, I began by prompting ChatGPT with all of the information about the Barracuda. This included the size of the hull, the size and number of main armament guns, and the size and number of secondary armament guns. This, in theory, gives ChatGPT the ability to either copy our design or to directly counter it. And as you can see, ChatGPT gave us the interestingly named Thunderclap class cruiser, the name of which I absolutely love. I think it's the best name yet, actually. I also asked it about the hull shape to give us a specific idea of what the hull should look like. And this Thunderclap class cruiser comes in at an astounding 180 meters in length, which is quite long for a cruiser class ship, at least in Project Prometheus. Additionally, it specified a main armament around 200 millimeters and a secondary armament around 100 millimeters. And as usual, I have a suspicion that ChatGPT has designed a slightly anemic warship. Once I had all of the info from my online dialogue with ChatGPT, I began the construction of the Thunderclap class cruiser. So the first thing I did is I laid out lightweight alloy blocks all along the major dimensions of the ship to make sure that I got everything right. Then I used metal, as ChatGPT specified, to form the hull of the ship. And rather than a sort of heavy cruiser, like almost ironclad hull, like we have on the Barracuda, the Thunderclap has a much more angular hydrodynamic hull. Once I had finished that, I added the main armament to the front and then to the rear, taking care to make it as high RPM as possible in an attempt to help compensate for the low caliber, especially considering that the Barracuda has much higher caliber main guns. But I started to notice something during the construction process, and that was that the cost of this ship was astronomical. The size that ChatGPT specified for this cruiser made it particularly difficult to build. And as I went about building it, I had to make decisions to make the main and secondary armament less powerful than I otherwise would have because of the cost of the hull alone. Additionally, the torpedo system, which I left for almost last, was basically not able to be implemented, again, because of the cost ceiling. So the ship only has a total of 4 torpedoes, 2 per side, but it does have 8 secondary guns and 2 main guns. I'm also pretty proud of how I did the superstructure on this one because I think it looks pretty good. And overall, this ship is just really nice to look at. So if it performs well in combat, that would be great. So, ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the Thunderclap class cruiser. I cannot get over that name. What a good name by ChatGPT. This is a really intimidating looking ship, in my opinion. And I really put a lot of extra work into like the superstructure and making it look good. So I really like how this one came out. Let's go over the armament, the hull, and then we'll compare it to the Barracuda before we put it into sea trials and combat trials. So first, the armament. So, oh, that guy is turned around. I'll have to fix that. But basically, is that a hole in the deck? I have to fix that as well. Jeez. Okay. So this turret, the front turret, is a 236 millimeter, so that's higher than what ChatGPT specified for us, but unfortunately, because of the nature of gauge increasers, I can't like get exactly the gauge it wanted, but this is fine. And we have a decent rate of fire on these of 10.8 RPM, which gives us a firepower of 8.68. As for the secondary battery, this one is facing backwards, but it specified no less than 8 of these guns, and these are 120 millimeter with a rate of fire of 25 RPM for a firepower of about 5, and we have 8 of them on board this ship. There are 2 here in the front, 2 in the superstructure back, 2 aft, and then another 2 facing off the back of the ship. Also off the back of the ship, we have an additional main battery. Please ignore this big hole in the deck. That's not supposed to be there, and it's supposed to be finished. Pretend it is finished. This is the same as the main gun at the front. ChatGPT specifically asked to have simple weapons on this ship, so I added 2 40mm AA guns here. The thing is, though, the cost of this ship is sitting just above 150,000 as it stands right now. Which is a problem because the ship's hull size was specified by ChatGPT to be 180 meters, which is huge, especially for this cost group. So one of the things I had to do is, rather than give it the 8 torpedoes that was specified, it only gets 2. And they're not just small, they're stubby, tiny little torpedoes. So yeah, these are very basic. In fact, I might actually have to expand these. I'm not sure they'll work as a single unit. We also have integrated hydrofoils to help maintain the roll, keep it steady. But overall, so this is a very capable cruiser, battleship, not a battleship, just a warship. The hull design is really good, but the cost limit prevents it from being armed as well as it probably should be. Now, if we compare it to the Barracuda, you can immediately see a big difference between the two ships, and that is that the Thunderclap is much, much larger. The Barracuda also sits lower in the water, and the firepower rating of these main guns on the Barracuda is 11, and there are 3 of them. As with a lot of ChatGPT's other ships, the Thunderclap suffers from the fact that most of its material usage did not go to weapons, but instead went to actual ship design. Whereas the Barracuda's hull is smaller, it has a way more capable armament, even though it is in a very similar configuration. So, we're going to take the Thunderclap after I finish what it's supposed to look like, and then we're going to put it through sea trials and combat trials to see how this thing performs. Okay, so we have a group of 3 Thunderclap class cruisers. That is going to be a problem for me. 3 of them out here in the open ocean, and now it is time for our famous Aquilae company sea trials, which basically just means we're going to make the worst possible weather that you could ever imagine and just put these ships through it. Now let's get that wave factor up as well. Let's go to the environment here. Got to get that way up. Awesome. And now we give them movement orders.
Returning to
We say,
formation.
go over here.
Moving now.
And we see, why is it red? Why is the sea red? Is this like a blood moon? Okay. Well, that's bizarre. Is this a From the Depths feature, or am I just like, did I summon Satan by accident here? Okay. We're gonna ignore that and go on with our sea trials. Must be ChatGPT and the AI acting up again. So far, so good. So one of the things about the Thunderclap that's really unique is that it's the first ship that I have built that is not lightweight alloy hull. So it is primarily metal. In fact, it is entirely metal in the hull. I use lightweight alloy for the superstructure as well as for the internal bulkheads, but the hull itself is metal, which means the ship is not inherently buoyant. So dispersed throughout the hull of one of these Thunderclaps are several bulkheads with air pumps, and that is what keeps this thing afloat. Not actually just the ship itself. Okay, they seem to be doing quite well, but these seas are not like what we normally do, so let's get that weather quality back to what we're used to here. I don't know why the water is red. Maybe is it the time of day? Who knows? Anyway, these ships do not have as much of a capsizing problem because the metal hull means they're not really top heavy at all. So I do expect them to do quite well in sea trials. Let's see. Give us a nice cinematic here, Thunderclap. Look at that leaping out of the water. The sailors on board these ships are truly some of the bravest men ever. Men and women. Look at these guys go. Oh, are you going to flip? Nope. Pretty stable. Another thing that really helps with that is, and this was actually a viewer tip from our Discord, these pitch control flaps, they not only control the pitch of the ship, holy cow, look at that guy go. They also help us control the roll side to side. They've also been added to the Barracuda because they really help with recoil and firing issues, stuff like that. And while these waves are completely massive, these ships are they're handling it extremely well. I would say these are some of our best sea trials yet. I mean, barely even an issue, honestly. The one problem, of course, is the propellers don't get submerged properly, which means they don't have any thrust. But you can only ask for so much when you put these ships in apocalyptic conditions. You guys are doing great, all things considered. And it refuses to capsize, which is awesome. Awesome news. Oh, we have a submersible cruiser. Nice. Okay, so that's good enough for me. We can let these sailors have a reprieve. Let's set the environment back to nice. Get our ships. Oh, come back to the surface now. There you go. Alright, so as far as sea trials go, that is going to be a flying pass for the Thunderclap. It is very, very seaworthy. Very hydrodynamic hull. Good flotation. And little to no chance of capsizing. So, A+. So now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the video. We are going to take the Thunderclap to combat trials. So, the first ship we're going to pit it against the ever-present, never-quitting, best ship in the game, Jacob's Treehouse. This is the benchmark I use for all my ships now. And it is basically an effective way of seeing, does your ship have a pulse? Does your ship basically function? Anything can beat Jacob's Treehouse. That's a good look at the shells we got going on there. These are HE shells from this main battery here. That's a cool shot. Look at that. Very cool. Okay, on with it. Let's see Jacob's Treehouse get blown to smithereens. So we'll get the good view over here. Ooh, a hard hit already. Ooh, another one. Jeez. So, the main battery on the Thunderclap is pretty effective at tearing through weak ships like this because it is HE. And the secondary battery, while it is very small, it can fire relatively rapidly and cause pretty rough damage to other ships. So as we can see, we've already managed to get this ship to basically capsize. The AI for the Thunderclap is set to circle, just like the Barracuda. Let's get a good shot in here. Ooh. Don't expose your underbelly, basic naval warfare tactics. Sun Tzu taught me that. This thing is just getting destroyed. Not quite as quickly as the Barracuda destroyed it, albeit, but it is getting destroyed. And let's check in on the Thunderclap over here. Appears to be doing quite well. This is quite a potent set of guns back here. Okay, Jacob's Treehouse is destroyed. I'm seeing absolutely no damage. Looks like we took a light hit there. Ooh, we did take a hit to the superstructure, but it didn't break through. And that's about it. So far so good. Next up is the Cornerstone Test. Well, actually, we'll save that for last. Next, I want to do some planes, actually. So let's see if we can find a plane in here. The Scrapper. Let's do 2 or 3. Oh, these are ships. Never mind. I can't read. Shrikes. These are bombers, so there's a good chance that this destroys our ship. But we'll see what happens. We'll give it a fighting chance here. Those small batteries should be instrumental. Oh, they've hit each other. Ooh, and we've scored a devastating hit on one. What about the other? Before it gets its bombs off. Ooh. Very, very nice. Both planes down quickly. Let's try one more set of planes just to be sure here. Now, I believe it's on hard. It's the Felix Flieger. These have been giving me some trouble lately, but maybe the Thunderclap can deal with them. You gotta take at least one out before they get you. Now, the big bombs that come from these planes are absolutely devastating. Like, see this one right here? Yeah, there's no chance. Oh, we did hit them, though. That's gonna be bad. Ooh, not in the superstructure. Oh, no. But she's still fighting. That is very impressive. 3 large bomb hits and still fighting. All 3 planes still in the air, though. And these guns appear to be oh, yeah, because detection is down. Oh, no. Poor Thunderclap getting destroyed. Oh, that's gonna be bad. It's gonna go right in the superstructure. Oh, completely destroyed it. But still fighting. However, without detection components, she's virtually hopeless. Okay. Let's be real. This fight is over. This ship has lost. So let's destroy the enemy vehicles. We can't take AA that well. Let me repair this guy now. Now, the cornerstone ship that we've been using for cruiser tests and for just other tests in general, the Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden is basically the standard of, like, our ships here. It's kind of what we're the right era, except for its missile armament. So this will be a good test to see if the ship we've built here is capable, or is it kind of a loss. So there's the Iron Maiden. I noticed Thunderchild. It's an interesting ship. Okay, let's get the Iron Maiden in here and see how this thing shapes up. What are you shooting at? Okay, first hits are coming in. That took out a turret already. That's not good. Now, it does appear that the... are these barrels here? better be. Yeah, they are. They're just not rendering. The Thunderclap does appear to be vulnerable to AP rounds because it doesn't have double thick armor. It just has a singular layer of metal hull armor. We are only doing moderate damage here to this thing. Let's see if we can get some hits on it. Some light hits, but not really doing anything. Again, these are HE rounds because of the small caliber. So that is going to cause us some strife. It looks like, let's see how we're holding up over here. Okay, we are getting chewed up a little bit, but not too bad. I mean, worse than I would like. Also, the torpedoes appear to not quite be working. I have to put a weapon controller on them for them to work. I'll have to remember to do that for our next little fight here. Yeah. Taking some serious damage. Not looking good. Let's have a check-in on the Iron Maiden over here. We are damaging it, but not as well as the Barracuda would. And it appears... Yeah, ooh, we just took a big hit. That's not good. We lost our rear battery. Oh! And our engines. That is not good. Oh, she's a sitting duck now. This isn't looking good, guys. Hello, invisible barrel? Are you there? I guess not. It is there, though, because watch, it's fired. I think it fired. Yep, there it is. So, checking in on the Iron Maiden again here. We have chewed a little bit through the hull armor, but not much. You gotta remember, the tough thing about the Iron Maiden is that the entire structure of the ship is armor, and it's extremely difficult to defeat because of that reason. Oh, there's the main barrel. Center barrel, rather. Okay, let's give these the all-in-one weapon controller they deserve. On both sides. That'll at least marginally help us. We got some torpedoes here. I think. I don't know what happened to them, but... Iron Maiden's taking some hits. I mean, of course it is. Like, we do have a very expensive ship. So we've exposed the alloy layer of its armor. But we are taking some serious damage. Let's have another check-in here. Oh, hello, torpedoes. Are you, okay. Those need fixed, clearly. Okay, this is not looking good for this ship. The good thing is it's very difficult for any other ship to get a fatal, like, KO blow, because most of the ammunition and stuff is stored below deck here. But this is definitely a loss for ChatGPT's Thunderclap cruiser, which is unfortunate, because I would hope that it would be able to defeat the Iron Maiden. But, alas, oof, no luck. Okay, so we can call this test ended. So there's one final test I want to do real quick. So, it may not be good against other cruisers, but perhaps this ship is good against a destroyer. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get a Kerman class destroyer, which, as we all know, is probably one of the weakest ships, not worst, but weakest in Project Prometheus so far. And we're going to spawn this in. We're going to let these two duke it out and see what happens. This is a realistic simulation of what could actually happen, because we have a human ship fighting against a ChatGPT ship. Torpedoes away. Light hits. Oh, we've destroyed their torpedoes. And let's check in on the Kerman class here. Taking some hits. Alloy is much more vulnerable to HE than metal. Ooh, okay. We're doing a little dance here. That is not where that thing wants to be. It's got 4 small turrets and 1 main battery trained on it right now. Oof. A lot of hits to the superstructure, but the hull is remaining relatively intact. Should be torpedoes away in a second here. Ooh. Heavy hits. And torpedoes away. And not anything meaningful. The Kerman class still has operable propulsion. And the hull is not breached. But the superstructure is getting shredded. Okay, awesome. So this is actually very informative for us. Let's see, took another torpedo hit. Unfazed, very light damage, not too bad. Propulsion still online. All guns still online. As the Kerman begins to flounder. Okay, so it may be that the role of ChatGPT's cruiser is less so to counter my own cruiser, and more so to be able to pummel destroyers like this, as well as aircraft. So, and that would make sense because no destroyer, as long as this thing can survive torpedoes, no destroyer's armament is going to be able to take this down. Because the simple casemated gun on here is far too weak to cause any kind of damage to this ship. And it is getting absolutely shredded. That is insane. Not that the Kerman class ever really kills anything, but... and let's see, I see a torpedo here. Yep, here's the lone torpedo. Okay, we are taking some damage. Some damage at the rear here, but not much. And it appears they did lose 1 turret. I need to fix these torpedoes. They're non-functional right now. The Kerman class is doing as the Kerman class does. Nose down, stern up, and just absolutely plow into the ocean. Interesting. Okay. So I would say let's talk a little bit about ChatGPT's design here while it finishes chewing up the Kerman class destroyer. So this ship suffers from a lot of the same problems that other ChatGPT ships suffer from, and that is a lack of capable weaponry. ChatGPT focuses a lot on the hull shape, maneuverability, and sort of non-combat functions of the ship, like the actual seaworthiness. But in doing so, it leaves a lot less accounting for weapons. And as with every other ChatGPT ship that we have built, this ship is deficient in terms of its weaponry. I mean, while technically a 230 whatever caliber gun is like the correct caliber for a cruiser class ship, it's not necessarily a winning caliber. And the smaller 120mm guns are not as well fleshed out as they could be, again because of material cost ceilings. So while I do think that this ship is a really good foundation, the material list, or the material limit that is imposed by Project Prometheus, is going to put a serious Achilles heel on that ship. And we will see more directly how well this ship does in combat as Project Prometheus progresses, as I have a feeling some larger engagements are coming up. But anyway, this has been an episode of Project Prometheus. Today we designed the Thunderclap, still can't get over the name, class cruiser. We learned that the ChatGPT Armada is beatable, shall we say. Even its greatest ships suffer from a lack of firepower, and even as the human fleet gets stronger, ChatGPT's ships continue to be a little bit anemic. So, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Project Prometheus. We're doing new episodes of this series every Thursday and Saturday, so tune back in to see more of this. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.